Welcome back, America. It's Hugh, joined by Texas Senator John Cornyn. Good morning, Senator Cornyn. Great to have you back.
Thanks, Hugh. Good to be with you.
Congratulations on the red flag legislation, the school safety legislation. Congratulations as well on the CHIPS Act. I wanted the CHIPS Act for a long time. I got sponsors on this show like Micron.com that wanted it. I think you were the workhorse on both of those. Are you tired and ready to go home, but instead you have to stay there and fight the poorly named Inflation Reduction Act?
No, I mean this is a goal line stand here against this misnamed piece of legislation. We're still waiting for the parliamentarian to go through the bill, and Senator Sinema has been quiet about where she stands on this. So it's far from a done deal, and we intend to fight it every inch of the way.
Now, I've been talking with guests this morning, Senator Cornyn. Senator Sinema finds herself in a unique position. I think when Susan Collins announced her support for Brett Kavanaugh, I think when John McCain turned his thumbs down, those were iconic moments in the modern history of the United States Senate. Senator Sinema is going to give a speech that everyone's going to watch. What do you think she'll say?
Well, I've been working closely with her on a couple of those pieces of legislation you just mentioned. I found her to be a very intelligent and thoughtful person. Obviously, our politics differ dramatically in many areas, but what I appreciate about Senator Sinema is she actually wants to get legislation passed, good legislation passed, and she wasn't consulted on this. This is a secret backroom deal between Manchin and Schumer, and Senator Manchin's done an Olympic-worthy flip-flop on his previous positions, and when he sees a tax increase on people making as little as $10,000, according to the Joint Committee on Taxation, he says, well, no, that's not a tax increase, that's just closing loopholes. Well, I think it's an insult to the intelligence of the American people, what they're trying to sell, and like I said, we're going to fight it with everything we got.
There's 700 pages in there, and we're going to find out, like we did with Obamacare, special deals for Nebraska, what was that called, the Cornhusker kickback. We're going to find all sorts of stuff in there. But Senator Sinema, am I right? She can have literally whatever she wants.
Yeah, I mean, she could stop it, or she can say, I'm not going to vote to proceed until the parliamentarian has gone through this. As you know, that's a very arduous process. It's much like an arbitration with the parliamentarian deciding what goes in and what goes out, because, of course, this circumvents the 60-vote cloture requirement that's normally used in a budget process like this. So in return for a 50-vote threshold, you basically cannot legislate on what essentially should be a budget bill.
She could ask for a massive increase of defense spending to counter the Chinese threat on display this morning with missiles falling from China in the Japanese economic exclusive zone. She could ask for nuclear plants expedited in every state. She could ask for charter school reform. She could ask for anything, Senator Cornyn. If she wants to be president, does she benefit the most by doing a John McCain thumbs down or by tailoring a special package that's patriotic and defense-oriented?
Well, you're right. She has the ultimate leverage. But, Hugh, as you know, this process also includes something which is, frankly, a little bit bizarre, a part of this process called the Voterama, which is every senator has an unlimited right to offer as many amendments as they want, and for an up or down vote, it can't be blocked. And usually what happens at the end, there's a so-called wraparound vote, which negates all the Republican gains in this case that were made with 51 votes, let's say, with Senator Sinema perhaps voting with Republicans, perhaps other Democrats voting with the Republicans. But none of this is certain. I would say it's far from certain. But there's going to be a lot of votes in this Voterama, which will contrast the positions of the Democratic Party with those of Republicans in ways I think will be helpful to us to draw those contrasts in the November midterm elections.
I've been lobbying Senators Toomey and Cotton to limit the number of those so we can focus and really focus on those contrasts. But in the end, that wraparound amendment, am I right? It's whatever Kristen Sinema wants in that wraparound amendment, she's going to get in that wraparound amendment.
You're exactly right.
So she can ask for literally the expansion of the fleet to 350 ships. She can ask for nuclear power expedited. She can ask for the reform of the education spending. You've talked to her a lot. She's really smart. Am I right about that?
You are right about that. And I found her, like I said, somebody who is good to work with. It's interesting. Years ago, I learned in the Senate that you can be fighting with somebody like cats and dogs one day, and the next day you're working with them to do something that accommodates your mutual interests or common interests. And that's just the nature of the job. But I found that when she is determined to get something done or to not do things, she can be a very stubborn person in a good way, I would say.
Well, I hope she does that in a good way. If she's going to vote for this nightmare bill, I think she should give it the thumbs down like John McCain. But if she goes forward, I hope she at least gets some defense against China. John Cornyn, you've been busy. You're still there fighting, and I appreciate it, Senator from Texas. Thank you. And thank you, Adam. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Generalissimo. We're going to post the audio and transcript of Chris Christie and Jim Gary, the audio of John Cornyn. If you missed it, you ought to be subscribed to the Hugh Hewitt podcast. Highly concentrated Hugh. You ought never to miss that, and you ought not to miss tomorrow's Hugh Hewitt show.